Okay, good day, viewers. Thank you for being part of this show. Thank you for taking out time to, to get a great information from this channel. Sit back and enjoy what we're about to offer you. I have here with me Mr. Daniel Omorigbe. He has some great information and insights so that we can have a great outlook of what we have been expecting. So, sir, can you simply share with us some of the things you have been able to observe in this economy, and what are you trying to propose solution to?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sam. Recently, we discovered that organizations have come in, or challenges confronting organizations have become more enormous with the changing trends, both in academic institutions, in all sort of institutions generally. And in order to provide solutions to some of these challenges, we've put together some content that will help organizations to stem the tide of these challenges. And one of such content is what we'll share today. The concept of approaching issues in differentiated pattern or ways has helped virtually most organizations that have embraced this system to become more productive and more resourceful, more efficient and effective. So if we take, for example, an academic institution, for example, we look at the concept of creating a new word through differentiation. So we put the concept of differentiation in everything that is done and thereby having palpable results. And when we talk about differentiation, is generally is just a disciplined thought, disciplined action, disciplined approach to students or individual approaching or attacking individual challenges, individual student challenges through disciplined thought, disciplined actions, and effort, sort of. And put those things together, we come back to observe that the detail or the focus is actually on discipline. So, and if discipline is the driving force, then the four strategies become what we look at in differentiation. What are the four strategies of this differentiated instruction?
Okay.
We talk about the content, we talk about the process, we talk about the product, and then the environment.
Okay.
If we take them one after the other, we'll see that each of these strategies have their way of redesigning the organization and then refocusing or bringing out more effective or more palpable results, sort of, and that will mark that organization out from others. You know, when we started, we talked about an academic institution, basically. So, and then if we take it practically now from the point of content, you see that when we go deep into what is being delivered to individual students, we see most or the approach that we've had before now is a collective delivery.
Okay.
So where students are given instructions, generally not taking into cognizance the peculiar nature of the student in general. So it's possible for you to have a let's say 50 students in a class for a lesson, and as an instructor or a facilitator, you must be able to know that not all the 50 students will comprehend your instruction with one approach or one method. That's where differentiated approach comes in. You see now. So the content, when you now look at the content approach, you need that we have to redesign the content in a way that it meets individual student needs. So it's possible for a particular student to be challenged with, let's say, just take, for example, a work or an activity in numeracy in maths, for example, and then the instructor or the facilitator comes up, is presenting that same concept with the same approach to everybody at once. That student will continue to be challenged because the approach is not going to work for that student.
That's true.
So if the facilitator understands the differentiation strategy in designing content. He will design the content to meet the needs of that individual who has a different perception. Because take into cognizance the fact that these students or these individuals are coming from different backgrounds.
That's right.
So that makes them have different orientations, different upbringings. So the moment that is taken into cognizance, you see that the content has to be redesigned to or tailored to meet individual needs. And what is the goal of that? The goal of that is to steer all the students towards a productive outcome.
That's right.
So it means that if we have, let's say, 4 characters, for example, A, B, C, D, and character A can understand from a standpoint of your collective approach or collective delivery, as the case is, character B might not necessarily understand that. C might not get it. D might not get it. So what have you done? Out of 4, you've scored 1/4, and that is failure. And you must be able to steer all of them at once to the direction of understanding. If they don't get there, it means that the facilitator or the teacher itself has failed.
That's right.
So that's where content comes in. And so when we talk about the process is now, how do you deliver that content that you have tailored?
Sorry, sir.
Yes, sir.
Phil, let's take it.
Yes, I think I've been able to gather some very few points. Viewers, you can pick 1 or 2 things there. You understand that you just send your children to school, all in the name of, I want my child to be educated. Now, you can see from what Mr. Daniel is making us to understand is that there are different approaches how a child can be sustained in learning, a learning process. Now, hear this. If you're also a teacher that you're listening or you're watching this particular episode, now hear this. Teaching is not something that can kill you. Teaching is something that can help you even to become a better teacher. So, and also to make sure that every of your child is being carried along, talking about the content, talking about the delivery. Now we're going to listen to him to tell us the next point about how you can actually have a great result. Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. We've talked about the content.
That's
and
right.
Then if you take it from there, we looked at the process. And in this process, basically, there are so many things that come into play. But as a good facilitator or instructor or whatever it is, like a teacher, one must be able to understand that you can group these students practically. Now we just give a practical demonstration. You can group the students according to abilities and level of comprehension, and that takes you must be able to understand how they understand as well.
Yes.
You must study the terrain and study them across board and see how this group. So like I gave an illustration of 4 students. So you can look at them. If you are careful to understand the process, you can group them. Maybe one is higher than all. We can call it an high flyer. The second one can be a middle flyer. So you can put that one at the middle. But the point is grouping them. Your intention is to also arrive at that level where all of them, get to a place of understanding.
That's right.
They might not necessarily arrive at the same time. Because that is the point, that is the problem. Teachers want everybody, all the children, to arrive at the place of understanding at the same time. No, everybody will not. That's why we have fingers that are not equal. God understands this place. Like this popular saying that the very day a man wakes up is his morning. So if I decide to wake up by 10 a.m. or 10 a.m., I'm permitted to say good morning. If I wake up by 2 a.m., I just woke up. I mean, by 12 noon, I can say good morning because I just woke up. You don't need to laugh at me because that is my time of waking up. So
that's right.
So the teacher understands that, okay, this child will wake up at this point in time. But my intention and my goal is to make sure that at the end of the section, when I'm appraising them, they must all arrive at a particular state of understanding that concept. They might not understand at the same time. They might not understand at the same pace. So with that, it gives you this calmness, and you drag depth and understanding from this well of calmness that, okay, I know that John is going to arrive here.
That's
but
right.
It might take him a little while. James has understood everything, but I need to make sure John get there. That is the process. That's just an illustration of a process, And then that takes us to the products.
Products, okay.
The products. So, in
So
product,
can you retrace the steps again, the point again, so that our viewers can understand, can be carried along? If you are just joining us, we're talking about creating a new differentiation in a new world. So Mr. Daniel has been able to give us, he's talking about 4 points right now. The first point he talked about is content. The second point he talked about is process. Now it's about to go to the third point. I hope you're going along with us. Thank you, sir.
okay, thank you, sir. So, talking about the third one, the products. You see, you see the build up now. We started with the content, we moved to the process. Now
That's
we're
right.
talking about the products. Now, like we were talking about the products link, it's just like you have a product to sell.
That's right.
So a teacher or facilitator has a product to sell. If every facilitator goes to his environment or his classroom or whatever it is, his lecture room, with the understanding that I am a marketer, I have a product. I'm not just going there to give out anything. I'm having a product. You will learn to market the product in a way that it is buyable.
That's right.
So we're in business, sort of. So the facilitator goes to the classroom with the mentality that this is a product. And what is a product? Allowing the students to approach understanding from their end. You might want to create a story. You might want to create allow them to use a speech to write. Allow some of them to do an act project.
Yes.
You are domesticating knowledge. So when, no matter what it is, it can be product like, it can be tangible, it can be palpable.
Okay.
You can make it a story form, and then you see the students, then they gravitate towards understanding. A child that is very difficult, he cannot understand. You say, okay, for example, I am going to teach a common concept in numeracy, like common factor, highest common factor, and I've tried to explain to a general understanding, and some of them are not getting it. I can product like that's work.
Okay.
While the students are in the class, I have understood their setting. I will group them by using, I want to teach them common factor. I will group them and bring the understanding of the commonness among them. By the time you see John and Kali, for example, have likeness in understanding, their approach is, they like to draw and design things. Let their understanding craft, put them together. Let them build the knowledge on the concept you are delivering. With that, they're having a product that reflects what you are teaching.
That's right.
By so doing, you're also teaching them common factor because they are coming together to do one work. So when I'm now teaching them, talking about common factor, and I say, put the like issues together, they use themselves because their product like the work already. It's palpable now. You know, so since it's palpable now, they can easily relate with it and say, oh, what it means is that, oh, we are actually working already. We share something in common. So that's common factor already.
That's right.
So, and by so doing, if I now decide to go to my board and start writing and say, let's find the factors of 25. I say 1, 5, and 25. I say, what are the factors of 10? I say 2, 2, 5, 2, 5, and 10, for example. I say, what are the common factors? Because you already have the concept of, or the understanding of products. They know that, oh, that means what we share in common. I don't need to say anything. You see them pick 1, 1 is common. You see, they will pick it 5, 5 is common. And they'll look at it again. Oh, those are the only common things we have. I have not said much, but I've taken them from products, I've taken them from the process, and I've made the activity
The content,
tangible.
yes.
So it has moved from just the content of what I'm bringing. I've turned it to a process that they can grab, and then I made them to domesticate the activity. Now they can now claim ownership.
Okay.
That is how it is.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
I believe you are getting along with the understanding of this differentiation, and I believe that once you let that sink in, it can change your modus operandi on how you can have an effective teaching and a learning outcome. Okay, sir. The final.
And finally, environment. You know, we talk about the strategies.
Yes.
So the fourth one is the environment. Yeah, see, most often than not, we are what we are by two factors. You know, we're taught nature and nurture. The nature is the biological makeup. What we become is a function of the genetic transfer, the genes transfer that we got from our parents, then what we will become ultimately again is also defined largely by the environment we find ourselves.
That's right.
So, and you see, in some cases, some children or some persons, as the cases, would have been well nurtured at home with the right gene. They took the right DNA from their parents. They are supposed to be smart, supposed to be hardworking, supposed to be intelligent. But oftentimes you see they turn out the other way after messing up in a certain environment.
That's right.
The question is, how come nature could not suppress nurture? How
Nature
come couldn't
nurture.
Yes, couldn't suppress nurture. Nurture has defeated nature in that context now, because the child that was well trained, well groomed, in fact had the practical physical DNA of the parents, looking so much like the father, who is established, who is intelligent, who is smart, who is even the president of whatever. But now speaking, looking at the child is wayward. Is out of sorts. The question is, if you want to place it, will you blame some forces? What? The forces at work is in the environment, the nurture.
That's right.
So, and that brings us to the knowledge. I have to use that to link up the dynamics behind environment in differentiation.
That's right.
You know, we talk about differentiation being a disciplined approach to everything, but individually. So when we now look at the environment, largely the classroom environment determines what happens to a child. So if the environment, if you decide to go altering some things in the classroom environment, believe you me, it will also on the long run, it will dovetail to affecting the level of understanding or how students understand.
That's right.
Like I bring in now, let's link it up now. We're talking about the common factors. When we're talking about the process, content, then then when you rate your environment, my ability to create a kind of a scenario where we have in that environment things that look alike, working together in harmony. It can be in animal form, it can be in human form, it can be in any inanimate or animate object, irrespective. But my goal, don't forget, is that I want this child who has been acclaimed or declared that he cannot understand to come to the place of understanding.
Understanding, yes.
So, if that is my goal, what do you think I should do? I would then change my environment. So when the child comes in, there's a pictorial illustration of what goes on. It forms an image automatically.
That's right.
That's where the environment comes in.
Okay.
So the environment in invariably is you being able to create a different environment that suits your content and communicates through your process, thereby delivering the product.
Good. I believe that you've been able to pick one or two things. Let's have your feedback. Let's have your response. Let's share in the comment section how you have been able to direct home your point. And parents, pay attention to your child's learning ability. Teachers, pay attention to your child's learning ability. Lecturers, pay attention to your students' learning ability. All we are looking for is building a total child who will be successful at home and also in the society. Thank you for being part of this show. See you again next time. God bless you. This thing can't make noise.